A heartbroken wife wept over the bloodied corpse of her dying husband after he was struck by Russian shelling in Kharkiv in Putin's latest cowardly attack on civilians today. Grief-stricken Sabina howled while cradling the body of Artem Pogorelets, who was wrapped in blood-stained blankets at Barabashovo market. Emergency workers tried in vain to console her after the devastating blitz which killed another and injured at least 21 after the bombardment also struck a mosque, a medical facility, a bus stop, a gym and a residential building. 3 people were killed by strikes a day earlier in Kharkiv, where some semblance of normal life had returned in recent weeks after Ukrainian forces pushed back Russian troops from the city limits. Russia yesterday reiterated its plans to seize territories beyond eastern Ukraine, where the Russian military has spent months trying to conquer Ukraine's Donbas region, which is south of Kharkiv. Ukrainian officials recently aired their plans to try to recapture Russian-occupied areas near the country's southern Black Sea coast. We are asking Kharkiv residents to be extremely careful. The enemy is firing chaotically and brutally at the city. Stay in shelters. The governor, Alexei Gubov, wrote on social media. The Kharkiv region's governor, Alexei Gubov, said 4 people were in grave condition and a child was among those wounded in the shelling. Russian forces also have shelled wheat fields in the area, setting them on fire, he said. Elsewhere, Russian forces shelled the southern city of Mykolaiv overnight as well as the eastern cities of Kramatorsk and Kostiantynivka, where 2 schools were destroyed after a civilian was killed Wednesday, Ukrainian officials said. Where front-line battles mostly unfolded in recent weeks. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov told state-controlled RT television and the RIA Novosti news agency in an interview published Wednesday that Russia plans to retain control over more territory, including the Kherson and Zaporizhzhia regions in the south. Moscow's current strategy also envisions making gains elsewhere, Lavrov said. His comments indicated the war could flare up rather than wind down in the weeks to come. The school's deputy director Olena Shmadchenko, 56, looked at the destroyed building in despair. I have been working at this school for 16 years. It was my home, she told AFP. Western powers have stepped up arms supplies to Ukraine, but President Volodymyr Zelensky has asked for more and speedier deliveries. Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin said Wednesday Washington would send 4 more M142 high-mobility artillery rocket system, HIMARS, which have notably boosted Kyiv's capabilities. Ukraine needs the firepower and the ammunition to withstand this barrage and to strike back, Austin told reporters, adding that the new shipment would bring the total of U.S. HIMARS sent to Kyiv to 16. which have been partially controlled by pro-Moscow rebels for years. In an emotional speech before the U.S. Congress on Wednesday, Ukrainian First Lady Olena Zelenska described the suffering of millions of Ukrainian parents and children, and asked Washington for air defense systems to fend off Russian missiles. Zelenska displayed images of children who were killed or maimed by Russia, including a 4-year-old killed by a strike in the city of Vinnytsia. Photos of her blood-spattered pink stroller and footage of her final moments went viral on social media. "Help us to stop this terror against Ukrainians," Zelenska said. Refugees who fled Ukraine in the early weeks of the war have found themselves in limbo. At a refugee center at the Global Expo Exhibition Center in Warsaw, some 1,500 people have been camped out in what they thought would only be a temporary shelter before finding more permanent housing or being able to return to Ukraine. "All I hope for now is to return home. Or else to be relocated somewhere in Poland," said Olena Polonitska, who has been living at the center for 4 months with her 11-year-old son Kirill.